Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today's video is a bit different. It is not a KPV video, but a What Remains video, as I like to call it, WR. Today, we will be diving deep into the WR iceberg, like we did last video with the copy-averse. So strap your seatbelts, cause it's about to be some turbulence. Section 1. Skies. EDRU. The IDRU, or the Andrews by their infamous name, is a military organization that was formed at the beginning of the apocalypse. The organization is still striving and is currently the strongest army in the US during the apocalypse. Zombies. Zombies are one of the nicknames given to people who were infected with the Vivus mortuus virus. The zombies have many other nicknames like the infected by Terrence and walkers by the escapees and many others. Escapees Group. The Escapees Group, or the escapees, are a group of people who strangely have all escaped from the IDRU. There were a total of 12 people in the group, these being Maya, Omir, Luke, Mike, Jard, Isaac, Olex, Sarah, Stephen, Keisha, OJ, and Sean. Although these characters weren't included in the show at the same time, about 5 of them have died. These being Maya, Jard, Isaac, Luke, and Mike. The original group also wasn't the same, consisting only of Luke, Mike, Omir, and Maya. And there was only one instance where a character quote-unquote left the group, Alex. Currently the group consists of Omir, Stephen, Sarah, Sisha, and Ajay. Virginia. Virginia is a state in the USA with over 8 million people. It has an area of 42,774.2 square miles, and it is where about 70% of the RP takes place. The list is too long, so maybe I'll make another video about this, we'll see. Section 2. Surface Level. Phoenix Project. The Phoenix Project, or the TPP, is a rebel militia group that fights against the Edru. TEP deeply hates the Edru, and they call them commies. The TP isn't good itself either, for it is a reason that Jard has died. Omir Singh. Omir Singh, the father of OG, is a US immigrant from India. Omir has a wife called Maya, who he married during the apocalypse. Omir is the only original Escapees member who's still alive. OJ, or Omir Jr. is the son of Omir and Maya Singh, which they discovered during Scott's death. Sadly, a few days after OJ was born, Maya died. OG's status in the RP is currently just being a baby, so he doesn't do much, but his lore is interesting. Lore. Lore most likely refers to the What Remains lore itself, as it is a dark lore, with things like the 3-day fall, the fall of the Richmond base, the Edru, the Phoenix Project, Jared's death, and more. Jared Porter. Jared Porter, or Jard, is an ex-Edru soldier who ran away during the terrorist attack on the Richmond base alongside his friend Nick Butler. Jard and Nick spent over a month together before Nick was killed by zombies, or was he? Jard continues his adventure alone and eventually meets Mike, and that's how he was introduced to the escapees. Jard and the escapees spend a long time together, but Jared died on December 15th, 2013. Zombie types. Zombie types vary between many different types of infected. These include runners, smart zombies, rotters, bloaters, and regulars. What Remains is still pretty new, so more types might be coming out in the future.
Come over here, check out my new shoes. They're the brand new. 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, follow some more, 5, 6, Nike kicks. Ooh, that is so fine.
Below the surface level. 10 years time skip. The 10-year time skip refers to a rumored 10-year time skip that will happen sometime in the RP. The RP is currently in the year 2013, but the time skip will most likely take place after a 7-year time skip, which will feature the late 2020s or the early 2030s. This doesn't change the apocalypse much, except for maybe stronger or weaker zombies. Scott Blackwell. Scott Blackwell is the first character seen in the RP. He first appeared in the first RPA session when we see him watching the broadcast about the virus. Later on, he goes to Butler's farm and finds a zombie there. Scott runs away, and the next time we see him is the attack of the Edru Richmond base and his death when Luke and Jared hunt him down. Nick Butler. Nick is the second character we see in RP. Nick was also coming to Butler's farm, as it was his parents' farm. But on his way, He crashed his car. Nick was a good friend of Jared until he was killed by zombies in a bar. Stan Oberson. Stan Oberson is a biased, middle-aged man who managed the Adru Richmond base until it was bombed by Scott. Stan ran away, and we have seen him since then. Currently, Stan is in a coma in the new Richmond base guarded by Dr. Harris. Deaths. Deaths are events that happen in the RPE, where a character dies. Yet, every character that was about to turn into a zombie was killed beforehand, which is kinda sad to be honest, as we usually skip the death scenes, since they're not really important, but having to kill someone who you know, and the fact that they're a zombie now is really hitting heavy. Section 3. The Deeps. Reanimation Virus. The reanimation virus, or Vivus mortuus, is a zombie pathogen which enters your bloodstream/body fluids through a bite, and it expands rapidly as the virus expands. It takes control over you. It makes your skin pale and your eyes red as if you just did Coca-Cola. The virus turns you crazy and makes you lose control over yourself. Infected people usually spread the virus by biting you or by transferring it through an open wound. 3-Day Fall. The 3-Day Fall is an event that happened in the early days of the apocalypse. The days when the world fell as the virus started growing, it went to chaos. Planes falling, cars crashing, people dying, riots, explosions, fire. The 3-Day Fall was the most dangerous day to be alive in the apocalypse. Wilmington. Wilmington is the most normal town in the apocalypse. It had a population of around 20 people and 2 parts to 2. The front town and the back city. The back city is a largely abandoned city, which is open to everyone. The front town is a small 12-building town, which 2 people living in, Sheriff Tennerman and Sarah Cross. Or at least this was true, as the town fell due to a horde of zombies. Sarah is currently with the escapees, and the sheriff is Russian Gang. Russian Gang is a group of immigrant Russians who reside in the U.S. They are just like any other group of survivors, but they just stand out. The Fall of Richmond. The Fall of Richmond refers to the fall of the old EDRU Richmond base that happened in August 2013, where Phoenix freedom fighters attacked the base and bombed it by sending a Scot to infiltrate their base. But it was never shown that Scott joined the Phoenix or even made a deal with them. The base fell, and Oberson blamed Jared and Nick for it, as it was them who he saw running away and was suspicious of them.
And now even deeper raw. I'm Uncle Nephew, and today we will be going over why Sarah should die and not Jared. Reason 1, Jared is literally him. Who? Him. Jared is basically Batman. He is the Knight. He is the Knight. He is the Knight. He is vengeance and Sarah. She's just a blonde girl with a child, but now that Jared's dead, bringing him back will be meaningless, as the damage has been done. Reason 2, Jared is probably the main character of the RP. Reason 3, Jared and Terrence interacting would be so funny. Reason 4, if Sarah died, Jared would go savage mode and kill Brandon. So as I said, why?
Vaccine. A vaccine that was given to Edru bases around the USA, and it still is unknown what it does. Stan isn't dead. Stan isn't dead isn't a theory, but a fact. In the RP, we are shown that Stan is in a coma inside some sort of hospital in the Richmond clinic, guarded by Dr. Harris, who is also Mike's father. Brandon Baker. Brandon Baker, the brother of Douglas Baker, is a Phoenix base commander who commanded the base in New Richmond. He also was the person who killed Jared and Isaac. It is currently unclear whether Brandon's alive or dead. Mississippi. This is the section's last entry, so strap your seatbelts because there's going to be a whole bunch of turbulence. Mississippi is a state in the USA in which the new arcs of the RP take place, and it is where Maria is located. Mississippi had a population of about 3 million people, and it has an area of 48,430 square miles. Now into Section 6. Nick isn't dead. Nick isn't dead. Unlike Stan is a theory that Nick is still alive somehow, but he is most likely disabled like the copyverse Chomper or something. Anyways, Nick might still be alive in Virginia somewhere, or even out of it. The Baker family. This section is pretty small, so this is the second pre-final entry to the section. The Baker family is the family of Brandon Baker. Not much is known about them, but from what I believe, they're fucking sadistic killers. Father Jason. Father Jason is a church priest at St. Simon's Church in Louisville, Mississippi, a fictional church that exists inside the universe. Inside the church is a priest by the name of Jason. Father Jason was seen interacting with Sarah, Stephen, and Cian. He is a cannibal. That's all we know. And now we go even deeper. Layer 7. This layer is mostly about the Lost Found Tapes spin-off and not the original. So let's begin. The Lost and Found Tapes. The Lost and Found Tapes are tapes found by and they contain films from secret/lost tapes that were found later on in the apocalypse. The rabies cure. The rabies cure is a vaccine created by Drs. Alice and Dr. Samuel. The vaccine was tested many times, but it never worked. There was a test taking place inside their lab. A human tester would enter the room and the virus would be injected inside it. In one of the tapes, a cure killed a tester. In a different tape, later on, it is seen that the tester is showing signs of life again, like it's reanimating, like it's something else. Alex's parents are scientists. Alex's parents are scientists refer to the fact that Alex's parents are scientists and are basically the first people to encounter the virus, non-including Scott. Another layer down the iceberg. Layer 7. The NADF, the NADF, is a newly established military made by the U.S. military after the apocalypse. Their full name is New American Defense Force. Currently, they have not been seen in action and their motives are unknown. The Dream Theory. The Dream Theory, or the Coma Theory, is a theory that everything that happened after Nick crashed has happened in his head. This technically doesn't deny the existence of the infected in their world, as Scott discovered zombies before Nick crashed. Brandon isn't dead. Much like Nick isn't dead, Brandon isn't dead is a theory that Brandon survived the zombie horde that attacked his base. Now we go one layer before the last.
Layer 9.
Tape experiment number 13. Tape experiment number 13 is a tape recorded by Alex's parents. The tape shows how a human tester who had rabies and was injected with the cure reanimates from nothing. Like how cow flesh has muscle memory. The human awakened, and it was aggressive. It tried to break out of the room, but the guards came in and killed it, fortunately. The tape was found by Alex. The copyverse. The copyverse is quote-unquote the father company of What Remains. Its contents are very different than What Remains, having a less serious tone and a more jokey one. Scrapped novel. Before there was time, before there was anything. There was nothing, and before there was nothing, there were monsters. And before What Remains, a novel was meant to be written. Basically, in short, What Remains was meant to be a written novel by Chill Polo, and not a roleplay by Chill, Chomper, and Trigon. The last layer has only one entry, so let's begin. Section 10, the last entry, The Abyss. Inconsistency. What Remains is good at many things, arcs, zombies, keeping it as realistic as possible. But there is something it sucks at. It sucks at being consistent. Since this isn't a show, but an RP instead of episodes, there are sessions. And instead of discussing ideas, drawing, and doing voiceovers, there is only one job. Roleplay it. But sadly, when you have 4 teens with different ages and different lives, making consistent RP is very hard. So the RP isn't a weekly episode, but a once in 4 7-day session. So thank you so much for watching this video. I was Chomper, and don't make me chomp your head. Oof. Bye.